As we know, today we're going to be going over some rolling exercises. So this can be used as a warm-up. It could also be used as a cool down, or if you just need some movement in that day that's intentional, you can always do some rolling. So what rolling is, you can either use this type of roller, which you can see is pretty smooth, or this type of roller that has these little pricks in it based on the intensity that you're looking for. Of course, the one that has the little pricks in it is a little bit more intense, while the smoother one is a little bit less intense because this involves some trigger point. So today we're going to be doing a lower body roll. So we'll focus on your lower body mainly, and then I'll also have another video with just upper body rolling. So we'll be working every part of your lower body, so your quads, your hamstrings, your abductors, adductors, calves, all the things. And so what we're going to be focusing on is that breath. So taking deep inhalations, deep exhalations to allow your body to relax. What rolling does, it helps circulation and bringing new blood and oxygen to that part of your body. So if you feel a little bit tense in certain areas, you're going to really focus on deep inhalations, deep exhalations to allow that blood circulation and oxygen to allow that body to relax and get rid of that tense spot in your part of your body. It also helps with recovery, helps prevent injuries. It has a lot of benefits. So let's get started. I'm going to be using the flat one for today. If you would like a more intense one, feel free to use the trigger point one or whichever one you have. We're going to start with your glutes. So we'll start at the top. So we're going to start getting your side glutes in. So you're going to start by sitting on top of the roller. You'll take one leg over and cross it just like this. And this is really good if you have any sciatic nerve pain as well. Plant one hand down next to the roller and the opposite hand's going to go on that knee. Now you're going to roll onto that glute, so my other glute's completely off the ground, or off the roller rather, and you're going to focus on just getting underneath that glute and then all the way behind that glute. So of course you can always pause this video if you want a little bit more time. I just want to go over exactly how to do each one. We'll take a few deep breaths on each exercise, but of course pause the video if you want a little bit more or something's a little bit more tense. So leaning into that knee, opposite glute is off the roller. You're gonna put all your pressures, you take deep inhalations, rolling the roller over underneath your butt, and then coming all the way back. So you can lean in different directions. You can lean backwards if you feel a little tension in your glute maximus, so the main part of your butt, or if you feel it a little bit more on the side, you can lean into it, but deep inhalations, deep exhalations the entire time. So even if it feels tense, you really need to allow your body to relax to get those knots and fascia that's built up in those muscles to expand and release. So deep inhale, deep exhale. And so if you have that sciatic nerve pain, you can also go right above that glute and just put some pressure into it. Perfect. Deep inhalations, just want to make sure you're able to see me. Awesome. And deep exhalations. Beautiful. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So same thing, you're going to sit on the roller, opposite foot goes over, opposite hand on that glute, rolling over to that butt cheek. You're going to inhale and deep exhale. So really put the pressure into that roller. Don't be scared. If it feels a little uncomfortable, it shouldn't be painful, but it will feel uncomfortable. So coming all the way over, deep inhalations, deep exhalations. If you feel a tender spot, you're gonna breathe into it, sit into it, just roll a millimeter up and down, and just take 3 deep breaths into that spot. So you can see if I have a little tender spot here, I'm going millimeter up, millimeter down, deep inhalation, deep exhalation. Deep inhalation, deep exhalation. Perfect. One more. And then you can roll it out. Perfect. So that's your glutes. Next, what we're going to do is your hamstrings. So we're going to take the roller. We're going to roll it underneath your thighs right here. Let me make sure you're able to see me. Beautiful. So you're gonna roll it underneath your thighs right here. Fingers pointed in towards your butt. Now you're gonna lift your hips, point your toes, and then allow your hamstrings release. Don't tense up on the roller. Allow your body to release by pointing those toes and going all the way forward up to your kneecap and all the way back. Now, if you want a little more intensity, what I like to do is take one leg over, still pointing your toes, and do one leg at a time. So inhalations, exhalations. And then start to move your leg at different angles. You can move it on the inside, on the outside of that hamstring, whichever might be a little bit more sore. 2 more deep breaths on this side. 1 inhale, and then exhale, let's switch sides. So if you're staying with just both legs, just keep going all the way forward, all the way back. There we go. Let me bring this up just a little bit. Perfect, pointing your toes. 2 more deep breaths on this side. And remember, if you need to pause it, get those knots out, break that fascia up, and then click play and continue on. 1 inhale, exhale, perfect. Next we're gonna do the calves. So we'll put them on your calves. Calves are a little more intense, especially if you're wearing heels and you're on your toes for most of the day. It should be a little bit intense, so just beware. So lifting your hips a little bit, pressure onto that roller, point your toes, coming all the way underneath, all the way back. And make sure you're not tensing up in your body. This isn't a reverse plank. You're putting little of pressure into that. Your hands right here, all of the pressure's on your calves. Now for me, I need a little bit more intensity, so I'm gonna take one leg over and do each calf individually. So pointing your toes to get into those calves, so you can roll onto the inside, the outside. I want you to look for those tense spots, and once you find it, like I have one right here, 3 deep breaths. Millimeter up and down, 2 deep breaths. 1 inhale, exhale it out. And if you feel like you need a little more love on that, you can spend a little more time, but I'm gonna switch sides. So pointing your toes, coming on the inside, the outside, roll it the whole thing out first, and then notice where there's a little bit of tense spots where it's like, ooh, it kind of hurts. That's your trigger point, and so that's where that other roller will come into play. And we'll take 3 deep breaths wherever you find that. Allow your body to relax. 2 deep breaths. 1 more inhale, and then exhale, coming all the way down. Beautiful. Next, we're gonna do abductors. So we'll do the outsides of your legs. This one can be a little intense as well. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come onto your forearm. You're laying on your side, so the roller is right underneath that thigh. That leg is extended out, and your other leg's gonna be planted with that foot down, right in front next to that roller. You can take your hand to your hip if you want, but you're literally just lifting your bottom leg off the ground and allowing all that intensity on the sides of your legs. So these are your IT bands. If you ever heard of having really tight IT bands, which you probably have if you're walking a lot or running a lot, just daily, even if you're sitting a lot, your IT bands can get tight. This is one that you'll definitely want to do. You avoid, but definitely put that time into your IT band. So 3 deep breaths wherever you need here, if you want the trigger point or just want to roll it out. 2 deep breaths. 1 more inhale, and exhale it out. Yeah, these are rough. And then let's switch sides. So we'll take the other leg. Remember, coming onto the side, forearms down, the side of your leg is on, stamping out in front, hand onto your hip, lift that bottom leg, and then coming all the way out to your knee, and then all the way up to your hip joint. And remember, if you feel that tense spot like I do right here, you'll take 3 deep breaths into every tense spot, not just one, whichever 3 whichever tense spots you may have. So 3 deep breaths. 2 deep breaths. 1 more inhale. Exhale in and out. Perfect. Next, we're gonna do adductors. So let me make sure you can still see me. Perfect. Okay, so next, you're gonna come down. You're gonna come down to your forearms. You're gonna do a half frog, so almost straddling out to the side with the foam roller inside that thigh. You're gonna come down to your forearms, and then you're not sitting up into a plank, but it almost will feel like that at first until you allow that pressure to go on the foam roller. So you're gonna tuck your back toe, lift that back leg, but put all the pressure on that roller as you roll all the way out, getting the adductors of the insides of your legs coming all the way back. So inhaling, exhaling. Perfect. I'm gonna move back just a little bit. There we go. And so you may need it more on one part of that adductor than the other, but we'll take 3 deep breaths. Remember, you can always hold longer if you need that. 2 deep breaths. 1 inhale, and then exhale, coming to the other side. So I'm just gonna switch this way. Remember that half frog right here, coming down to your forearms. Tuck your back toe, and then leaning all the way out, all the way in. There we go. 3 deep breaths. 2 deep breaths. 1 more inhale, and then exhale it out. Perfect. Next one's gonna be your quads. So we're gonna take the foam roller right on the top of your thighs. You're gonna come down almost to a forearm plank, just like this. And make sure it starts a little bit above your knees. Again, you can always cross one leg over if you need to, or if you wanna get more into it, you can cross one leg over. You can leave both and cross it over for just a little bit more intensity, or if it's intense enough, keep it as it is. I need a little bit more intensity. You're gonna point your toes just like we did for the hamstrings, and we're getting the front of your legs. So inhaling and exhaling. Remember, if you feel a little tension, breathe through it. 3 deep breaths on each side. 2 deep breaths. 1 inhale, and then exhale, let's switch sides. So other leg's gonna come on top. If you're doing both legs, just keep both legs on. Try to find those tender spots. Use this time to find those trigger points. 3 deep breaths. 2 deep breaths. 1 inhale, and then exhale. You could tell mine are pretty sore because it was almost hard to breathe during that one. Awesome. Last one we're gonna do for today is your shins. So we'll come down with your shins on top of the roller. I'm gonna roll a little bit further back. Coming down to that forearm plank, just like we did with the quads. You're gonna put your shins, point your toes. You can do one and the other. This one, remember, you can always turn side to side if you need a little bit more on a certain part of your shin than the other. Or you can do both together. I'm gonna do both together for this one. You're gonna take 5 deep breaths. 4 deep breaths. Last 3. If you're switching sides, switch sides. We're gonna do 6, so it's even. 3 more deep breaths, so deep inhale. 2 more deep breaths. 1 more inhale, and then exhale, coming all the way down. Perfect. Beautiful. And that's your lower body rollout for today. Let me know if you ever have any questions. Remember, you can always pause if you need a little bit more time on certain body parts, but most importantly, just make sure you deep inhalations and exhalations to allow that oxygen and blood to recirculate, to allow that fascia buildup to just release. And sometimes you may need certain ones other than others, but choose what you need each day and go for it. I'm proud of you. Have a wonderful day.